All right, it's Friday. Let's form check. Hey, welcome back to another Form Check Friday. I'm Paul. Clint is always sleep. Oh, wait, I actually can use my little camera thing here and we can check on Clint. We can see how he's doing. What's up, buddy? Oh, there he is. So exciting. Just hanging out. Okay, back to Form Check Friday. So today, before we get into your form checks, which is why you guys are all here, I wanted to show you something that I just finished in my free time. As you guys know, on the website, I created a body composition calculator. I put a link on the website. It's a Google sheet. It looked like this. And the idea was you could put in your starting weight, your current body fat percentage, and then you could calculate either a cut or a bulk, losing fat, gaining muscle. And you could do it either by entering a target weight, and then it would tell you at that weight what body fat percentage you would be, or you could do it using a target body fat percentage. I want to get to 10%. I'm at 10%. I want to get to 20% or 15%. And it would calculate it. But it was a pretty rudimentary, Google Sheet thing that I just had linked to. So in my free time, I just finished an app. And I don't know how to build an app, but I will show you what it looks like. So this is obviously a little copy of my phone. And if you go to my website, and I have to do this on the phone, but if you go to my website and you go to the little menu bar and you go to resources, now there's a body comp calculator. And if you click on that, it'll bring up this cool app that I made. This took so long, but I got obsessed with trying to figure it out using Google's app program thing. So anyway, it's the same concept. You have two different calculators. You have cutting calculators and bulking calculators. So if we wanted to do a cut, you click cut, and then you can do it by target weight or target body fat percentage. So if we go to target body fat, you got to put in, God, I hope this works. So let's say that you're cutting and you're 225, and you know that you are 18% body fat and you want to get down to, let's say, 13% body fat. So you put that in, hit save, and then it should give you your results. So you can see you were 225 at 18%. It gives you your current lean mass, current fat mass, and then your target body fat percentage was 13%. At that weight, you'd end up at 212. Again, lean body mass and fat mass at your ending weight, and then total weight lost. So that's how the cutting one works. You go back to the menu and we go to bulking. This one was so complicated. Target weight bulking was pretty easy. Target body fat bulking, like I had to go to ChatGPT because I suck at math. And there was a formula I couldn't figure out to program into the sheet, but thank God for GPT-4 because it helped me out. So if we go to target body fat bulking, you can see here you've got, so let's say we just finished a cut and we ended up at 195 and our current body fat percentage is 10% and we want to end up at 15%. And then in this one, you get to pick the muscle to fat ratio. So how much muscle for every new pound, how much is muscle, how much is fat? And if you're brand new to training, 70-30 is pretty good. If you've been training for a couple years, it might be more like 60-40. And if you're an experienced trainee, 5+ years of training, you're probably going to do 50-50, but let's just go with 60-40. So we'll go like that. And then it should calculate that we'd end up at 234. So we would be gaining 39 pounds of weight at that ratio. And so anyway, it's fun to play around with. Is it 100% accurate? Absolutely not. If you go to the menu, you can see there's a little about section, and in there I just wrote some notes that the fat loss calculators, they just assume everything that you lose, every pound is going to be all fat. That's probably not true. You know, if you keep your protein high, you keep training hard, you might do that, but you might lose a little muscle just for the sake of the math. It assumes 100% of the weight loss is from fat. And then in the bulking calculators, it says, you know, recommendations for using those ratios. You can play around with them, but it'll give you a good idea of, you know, what to shoot for when you're planning on bulking or cutting or whatever. So you can get to that on my website. Like I said, it's in that menu, hornstrength.com, or I put it on our Reddit page over here in the community, or sorry, in the links and resources. You can see the body comp calculator down here. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the website. There's a web version on my page, and then it works on mobile too. So just something to play around with, and hopefully it works. If you find any bugs, I'm sure you will. You can send them to me and let me know. I'll try and fix them, but it's a little cleaner version of the Google spreadsheet. So, all right, on to form checks. That's why you guys are all here. As you know, I have not seen any of these. So we are going to do this together, and we're going to try and get through it as quickly as we can while still giving everybody the advice they need. So thank you all for posting this week. Been looking forward to this all week, and I'm excited to get into it. We got Luke up first with a picture of a dog, obligatory. Here's my squat after working on getting the knees set around halfway down. Last form check was my knee was still moving forward at the bottom. I think my longer legs, shorter torso makes the knees getting set around 2/3 of the way down. 5'8", but I wear 32-inch pants. Okay. Let's see. Squat 295 by 5. Back off looked better. I miscounted the reps, and I did 7 rather than 8. Okay. That's okay. All right. So, and this is Ted, pup of the week. That's going to have to be a thing. Okay. So let's check out. And what are we looking for here? Knees halfway down. Let's see how this looks. All right. So we'll watch a couple of these, get a feel for what Luke's doing, and then we'll dive in. Okay. These look pretty good, man. Beautiful rep. That was a great rep. Depth looks pretty spot on here. Yeah, this might be another boring Luke form check. I think these look pretty good, man. Let's watch again. See if I catch anything. I mean, the advice to get your knees set by the halfway point is, you know, that's the goal, but everybody's going to be different. The idea is that at some point before you get to the bottom, they stop moving forward. And you can see yours are definitely coming to a halt and giving you an opportunity to, the knee stops, and then you can reach back into the bottom. That's the only way you hit depth, by the way, is by sitting back. If you keep sliding forward, you're not going to hit depth. Dude, these are great. I mean, let me look at your, let me look at your, what your question was. Knees were still moving forward at the bottom. Yeah, I think you fixed that. I mean, I'll tell you what, we'll slow this bad boy down and see if we can, maybe we'll zoom in on a knee here. See if we can see one. The anticipation. Boom, dead stop, man. Dead stop. This is fun. And yep. And I think this might be my favorite rep. It was one of these. It was back. That buried it. Hip drive. I mean, upper back tight. It's a fantastic rep, man. Yeah. Let's see what your questions were. The last one for reference. Let's compare and see, because I kind of forgot what happened here. But we will check. So we're watching knees. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's still not that bad, but they just weren't, they're not as locked as you have them on this newer set. Yeah, you can see him slide forward on that one. So, dude, great work. I mean, whatever you're thinking about to make that happen, don't stress about it being, you know, it's a little, they're getting set, but it's an inch or two below the halfway point. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. The point is they stop, you sit back, get that, you bury it, you get that stretch reflex, and then you drive up. So good work, man. We're starting off strong today. So, and tell Theodore Albert Bear. I mean, and he's a wiener dog, a long-haired wiener dog. Awesome, man. You're living the dream. Okay. Thank you, Luke. Let's move on to Nick. Hey, Paul, here's my deadlift at 315 for 5. This is week 3 at 315, adding a rep each week. So you're doing rep ranges, which are basically built into all my programs. You have a rep range of 3 to 5. You add weight when you get 5. If you don't, you just repeat. So my back extension, definitely in need of work. Questions. Would adding pause deadlifts be a good move? No. Would widening my feet help me push my stomach to create back extension? No. And we'll talk about this. And should I consider reducing no, absolutely not. Should I consider reducing the weight and going beltless to see if I get better? No. Okay, I don't even need to see these. We're going to talk about these questions. Pause deadlifts. I'm assuming that means you pick it up to like your knee or just off the ground, like the exercise I have where you float the bar, floor breakers, where you set your back and try and hold it. If that's what you mean by pause deadlifts, maybe. If you mean, doing a rep where you lift the bar up, to your knee and then, or mid shin and then stop, and then that's not going to help you set your back. Widening my feet, no, but actually it's kind of the opposite sometimes. If you bring your heels a little closer, and it's really not the width of the stance, it's the toe angle. So if you get more kind of duck-footed like this, you can push your knees out more because of the angle of the toes, and that gives you a little bit more space to bury your stomach a little bit lower in between your thighs, and that'll give you some more range of motion in the hamstrings to make it easier to set your back, hopefully, and sometimes not always. And then reducing the weight, maybe. We'll take a look at the video. Going beltless, no. The belt has nothing to do with your ability to get your back in extension. So everybody that I coach, that I work with, has learned to set their back properly. Sometimes it took a long time, but they've all done it, and they do it with a belt. The two things are not related at all. So now, if you're wearing a 3-inch belt or a 4-inch belt, that might be getting in the way and messing with your head. But we'll see. We'll see what you got here. So, you are. Okay, so before we start, if you're having issues setting your back, highly recommend that you get a 3-inch belt. It's a little bit thinner. I'm assuming the camera's not playing tricks on me, and that's a standard 4-inch belt. That can dig into your hip and the bottom of your rib, and it can get in the way of, setting your back properly. So usually if you're under 6 feet tall, you need a 3-inch belt for everything. If you're over 6 feet tall, you want a 4-inch belt, wider surface area for the press and the squat, and then you want a 3-inch belt for the deadlift because it's kind of out of the way. It does make it a little easier to feel that back extension. But let's take a look and we'll watch. Okay. And your heels are actually very close together, which is okay. Well, you didn't set. You didn't follow the deadlift launch procedure. So you're not setting your back at all. You're like half-assing, you're half-assing it. So, okay, Nick, we got to talk here. This is good news. This is good news because we can fix this. You can set your back. You're just not giving it the attention that it needs. You're setting and pulling, set, pull, which means you're not really setting, because by the time you're like, you try it a little bit, you're like trying to arch, but you immediately try and pick the bar up off the ground. And so you're not locked, right? Okay, so the deadlift cadence, once you get set, once you're balanced, you found your weight a little bit back on the heels, right? Your grip is set, you're ready to go. You've done all the fidgeting, you've gotten all the things out of the way to get yourself ready to actually pull a rep. And you're gonna do this for every rep. Once you're ready, the launch sequence for the deadlift is breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. Okay, take a breath, squeeze your chest up, that's setting your back, right? Your low back. Pause, and then pull. And that pause is key because it gives you an opportunity, if you happen to drop your butt and nudge the bar forward, gives you an opportunity to pull it back to your shins, because if you bump it and then pull it right away, now the bar's off your shins, it's in front of the middle of the foot, and it's gonna swing back in, right? So it doesn't look like you're dropping your hips very much, but sometimes when people try and set their back, they lower their hips, that bumps the bar forward, and then the pause there gives you an opportunity to go up, I made a mistake, pull it back, okay, and then go. Okay, but in your case, the pause is also there to make sure that you set your back as hard as you possibly could, right? If you take a breath, squeeze your chest up, pause, and you, in that pause, go, am I as arched and tight as I can possibly be, or can I squeeze a little bit more out of this? Can I get my lumbar spine in even more extension? I mean, this should be harder than lifting the weight, the setting of your back. That's why I want you to do it like the last thing you do before you pull. I've had guys in previous episodes that were setting their back and then messing with their grip and then rolling the bar around and then finding their balance. And the whole time they're trying to hold this like rigid extension. It's really hard. It's exhausting to do this. So you want to do that, set it and go, but you got to put that pause in there. Right? Breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. And that gives you an opportunity it's like a tension check. Am I as tight as I possibly can be? And did I move the bar? And am I, motionless, stable, just everything's ready to go? It doesn't have to be a long pause, but there's gotta be a pause in there, okay? So we'll look here, but notice how you set that, see? Okay, first rep here, you're taking your time. So that, and it is unlocking, okay? But that's not bad, right? Like you'll learn over time to get a little bit more out of that, but that's okay. The problem is, as soon as you start to, even you lose it a little bit coming off the ground, and the reason you're losing it is because you haven't been training your back to stay locked, and you've been bumping the weight up. Right? Because after this rep is when it all goes to shit. So now, like, look at the difference between the pause in that first rep and the pause in all the other reps. Like, we can count, right? You set your back, 1, 2, and then you go, okay? Now, I can't even count to 2. 1, nope, you're already off the ground, right? So you're just, that you didn't, so look at your set on this rep, okay? Like, I'll scroll back here and I'll try and catch it. All right, that's you set before you pull. And compare that to that one, right? So you can set your back. you're doing it right here. The problem is you're not taking enough time to do it like that. And notice that the good rep was the one where you paused, where you took more time between setting and going. The rest of them, you're just racing through it. And it's because, you know, you're thinking about the 5th rep, you want to get 315, you're amped up. But that every time you do it like this, you're missing the opportunity to engage those, to let those spinal erectors get stronger, because you're not even asking them to stay locked, which makes the whole rep less efficient, right? Because as you pick the bar up and start pushing, your back starts flexing and you've got this massive power leak. And so you keep adding weight, you keep going up, and the spinal erectors are never going to get strong enough to hold it, right? I'm going to go deadlift later today, and my back is going to be pretty good for the first rep, and it's my heavy deadlift day. So the first rep will be okay. The second rep will be okay. And then it's going to go to hell. Like, I'm going to start rounding more and more but this is the heaviest weight that I lift. And what that means is on my lighter deadlift day, all those reps are going to be perfect, right? So when you're working at your top end of your deadlift, like, there's going to be, for most people, unless you have the genetically blessed guys who just never have a problem keeping their back locked, the rest of us mortals should expect a little bit of flexion, right? It just, most people at their max weight or pulling like a real heavy set are going to have a little bit of unlocking. But as that weight goes up, the lower weights that you work with that you couldn't keep your back locked at before, now you can, because everything got stronger. So we're always striving for perfect, but you got to expect a little bit of flexion. But if you're continuing to go up and adding weight and doing this, they're never going to get strong because you're not asking them to do their job, right? So forget about this. Has nothing to do with any of the things you asked about, except the belt. Get a 3-inch belt. It's not going to be a game changer, but you should have one. So get a 3-inch belt, and just insist that every rep that you follow that cadence: breathe, squeeze, pause, pull, right? I think I've got a deadlift video. Let's see. It's okay. This is one of our early Reddit guys. I don't know what this guy's doing. I miss him because he had a perfect deadlift, right? But if you watch his setup, right, he's not pause, and you can see that arch in his lumbar spine. But notice the time between creating that and picking the weights up off the ground. There's a beat in there where he registers that he's locked it, and he maybe tries to even get a little bit more out of that, a little bit more range of motion out of the lumbar extension, right? Pause, pull. That's a great cadence, okay? So you might, it's just like knee cave with the squat. You may need to go back down. You may need to take 5% off, something like that, and work, what is, you got 315. Maybe you try 275 and insist that every rep looks like that first rep. Okay. If the 5th rep, it's, you get a little, as long as you're trying and following that cadence, if it unlocks a little bit, that's fine. There's you got to decide, is this good enough for me to continue adding weight? Right. But yeah, maybe try 275, see what that looks like. If it feels good, if it looks good, try 285 next time, 295, and then work up from there in 5-pound jumps until you're back. And you got to give those spinal erectors a chance to catch up. Okay. Breathe, squeeze, pause, pull. That's your deal. That's your homework. All right, man, we're moving on. Thank you for the post. Okay. Economics Queasy. Here we go. Hello, Paul. You helped me last week with my past knee slide issue and getting back on track. My homework was to bring the tubo back and practice with pause squats. The first thing I noticed with the pause squats was that my knees needed to be further forward than I thought. Yep. I moved the tube further away in practice. Also, I had no hip drive. Here's what I've got so far. I still need to clean it up, but I want to make sure I am on the right path. I feel like I need to get bent over and set the back angle again faster, but I think the knee slide is better, and I'm still a little inconsistent with the exact spot my knee should stop, or my knees stop. Are these looking better? This is the first video of last week, in case you need to reference it. Oh, the first video is of last week. Okay, let's take a look. All right. So let's watch the new video. And see what we get. Better hip drive, for sure. Much better hip drive. Okay. These are a lot better. Good. Don't shift back on the way up, right? Keep that weight like that. Great job, man. Like, really. These look a lot better than last week. So I think the only thing that I noticed right off the bat was still a little bit of hesitation leaning over, but like not setting the back angle soon enough. Yeah. See it on these are like night and day compared to last week. Oh. It's just, you're just hanging on a little too long. Really good. What I mean, so when you start driving up, you don't want to have your weight shift back to your heels, okay? So you shove your knees forward as you drive up. Like, that's a good one right there. Like, okay, you know how to do it, but just it's not even that bad. I'm just mentioning it because I don't want it to get worse, where you put your knees forward and then as you start driving up, you kind of shift back and you see your knee pull back a lot and your weight goes back to your heels too much, because that was your issue, is too much weight on the heels, I think. So just one of the things you can think about is I'm going to shove my knee forward right away and have it stop. And as I drive up, I'm going to keep it forward as much as I can. In other words, I'm not going to let it shoot back. The knee's going to come back a little bit when you start driving up, but if it comes back a lot, your balance is going to be off. Okay. So just be aware of that. Again, it's not like a huge issue yet. The only thing you need to fix is you got to set your back angle a little bit sooner on the way down, and that's it. Then you're going to be perfect, man. So I'll tell you what I mean, or I'll show you what I mean. Let me slow this down for you so we can kind of watch it. This first rep's probably is the best example. So all we want is that by the time that whatever back angle you're going to assume on the way up, okay, for the drive up, you're going to try and hit that and set it before you get to the bottom. Ideally, by around the halfway point of the descent, you're as leaned over as you're ever going to be. Okay. And then as you drive up, your back angle will change slightly more horizontal as you hip drive, but then it'll lock in after an inch or two of drive on the way up. And then you hold it till you get near the top and then you stand back up. Okay. So lean over and stay leaned over, but you've got to set that. You don't want to hit the bottom and still have to lean over, because then you're going to go forward. All right. So just watch how you lean, and let's watch where you kind of finally stop leaning. All right. That's what I'm looking for. I think I slowed it down too much. All right. See, you're still, you're getting close to the halfway point, and you see you're still leaning over, still leaning over, still leaning. Now you kind of have it. There, now you've got it. And so on the way up, that's where you're gonna be. So we want this back angle, pretty much this back angle by this same point. Okay, this is the ascent right here. I want you in this position on the way down. But you don't hit this position until you're almost at the bottom. So you're just trying to stay a little too vertical. See, your chest is kind of pointing at the shelves. Chest is still up. Now it's starting to point down, right? Like maybe I can mark this. So we'll go like the first couple inches, right? Chest is kind of pointing there. And then we go down a little further. Now the chest is kind of starting to point down here. And if we go, now we're pointing, getting closer. We're like there. I want your chest pointed here right away. Okay. So we go down and now we can kind of see that you're basically like pointed there. I mean, you're still you could be a little bit more leaned over because that's where you want to be. This is like, boom. Okay. So that's the only thing that needs to be fixed is just dive for the floor, man. Just all you think about is I'm going to stamp my sternum down on the concrete right away. You're just trying to hold it a little too long. And because of that, as you hit the bottom, you're still you're finishing the lean while you're supposed to start driving up, right? You want that set. So all you have to do, and you're still doing a pretty good job, right? I mean, these are like, compared to last time, way better, but get more leaned over sooner and then do everything else that you're doing. Keep a little bit of weight on your toes, right? Like a little bit more than you want. Okay. Don't go back to your heels. Don't start shifting back. Keep that midfoot. But in your case, because you're so used to like being on your heels, it's going to feel when it's right, it's going to feel like you've got a little bit too much weight on your toes. Okay. So make it feel a little toey on the drive up and that should just balance you out. Okay. But like, dude, way better. So keep working on it, man. Huge improvement. And that's exciting. Like, I really nice work, dude. Okay. Thanks for the post. Check back in and we'll keep tweaking. All right. Red 95 blue. Here's an updated squat, heavy day, 255 by 5. I feel like bar placement, grip, and movement improved. Watching it back, I think my stance is too wide and toes might be positioned too far out. As I can see some knee caving and heel lifting off, especially on the right side. Here's the original post for comparison. Thanks, Adam. All right, Adam, let's take a look. All right. Okay. Good. Better than the first one. No hip drive on the first one. You drove your shoulders straight up. There we go. Okay, now you're getting into it. Yeah, you're lifting your chest too soon on that one. Your descent is great. Like you're nailing the way down. So I think, what did you say? Grip, bar placement. I mean that, but see, if the drive up from that one, right? If we watch how you come up and just watch your chest, what I want to see is this, where your back angle actually changes a little bit more, just slightly more horizontal as you drive your butt up. But what we're going to see is just none of that. And you're actually going to become more vertical right? Because you're just driving straight up with no hip drive. And you may have mentioned that in your comment, but this one, more hip drive. Now you're getting on your toes a little bit. So you got to lean over, sit back, and stay back on the way up. Don't let your weight shift into your toes. You got a little bit of knee cave too. And I think that again, camera angles, like I don't trust them. But I think if you brought your feet, keep the angle, just move your heels an inch in on each side, just a little bit narrower, tiny bit. I think it's going to make it easier for you to keep your knees out and prevent them from hopefully caving in. But yeah, your stance is a little too wide. So maybe 2 inches total, maybe 3, but bringing him in a little bit is going to give you more room to jack him out. Okay, so you see the difference between that one. Now watch your butt on this one. See how it's noticeable. You can see that you're leading out of the bottom with your hips. Great depth on that one. Could have been more hip drive. Yeah. So get a little bit more aggressive with the hip drive. Like, I mean, it's not like it's good, but like pop your ass up, Imagine, like I said, that I'm going to come up behind you and just grab you by the waistband, right here, and just yank it up real hard, straight up. I want this, just boom. And you should become a little bit more horizontal, slightly, just pop it and drive the hell out of it, man. Like this, just drive that up. Don't worry. Like what I always tell my guys is who have this issue is I want you to do so much hip drive. Just humor me. Give me too much hip drive. Do so much hip drive that you think I'm going to be like, Adam, just rein it in, man. That's way too much hip drive. Because if I can get them frustrated enough with me just repeating myself over and over that they're like, fine, you want hip drive? I'll give you hip drive. And then they kind of overdo it. It's perfect. And they go, God, that rep was so much faster. It's like, exactly. You'll feel it when you do it right. But in your case, like you can't do too much hip drive right now. Okay. Because you haven't been doing it. And so anything is going to feel like too much. It's going to feel weird. So make it feel like too much hip drive. Bring your stance in a little bit. Yeah, and just watch the knees. Keep your eyes, like you're looking in the right place. Just watch them out of your peripheral vision. And if you see them cave in, you can push them back out. So yeah, remember, it's you drive your hips up. That's not the only thing. It's ass up, knees out, okay? You don't take your focus off your knees. It's not just pushing your butt up. It's butt up and jack the knees out, keep them out. And which means in your case, thinking about pushing them back out because they do want to come in a little bit. I mean, yeah, dude, you're crushing it, man. These are so much better. Like, yes. So those are my tips. This is fantastic. Like, we're killing it today, guys. Seriously, you guys are like all these are so much better. It's like this actually works. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can just, for quick reference, watch. Yeah, I remember this. Let's just revisit this. Yeah, not even hitting depth, way too vertical. Wrists are kind of on top of the bar. Like zero hip drive, stance still too wide here. Yeah. And that's 225, and what we just saw today was 255, and it's like way better, deeper hip drive, like 10 out of 10, man. Narrow your stance, exaggerate the hip drive, just do a little bit more of what you're already doing, and we got it. Ugh, this is a fun one, man. You guys are just crushing it. Okay, great work, and feel free to post a follow-up, but dude, you're doing great. Let's get 315 on there. Okay, Anoop. Let's see if Anoop came through. I have further reduced the weight on the bar and tried to keep my chest up, gaze down. We were talking about you losing this upper back extension, thoracic extension. I still see some head movement. All right, well, let's take a look and let's see what we see. Yeah, it's better, but you still see nothing's happening in your upper back. Okay? So this is this is what needs to be fixed. Keep your eyes up here, right? When you take your breath, that's your opportunity to expand your chest, right? And puff it up, okay? If I walk it out and the weight's crushing me and I'm here, I want to, when I take that breath, I should see movement, right? Look at how my chest moves. Okay, now it's up, right? Now when I hit play here and you take your breath, this is what we're gonna see. Okay, you just kind of shrug a little bit. And the chest, nothing happens here in terms of puffing this up. Okay? So let's watch. But watch your chest, watch your upper back. And you're trying to set it, like we talked about last time, on the way down. So that was just up and down, okay? It was more dramatic, but now notice that your elbows are coming down. A little bit better on that one. A little bit better. Like, these are definitely better than before, than the last, like you're doing a better, but this one in particular, see that little like shrug? That doesn't do anything. That's just moving the bar up and down. It's that, here's what I'll liken it to. Imagine trying to set your back for a deadlift once you pick the weight up off the ground, right? So you just pull the bar up off the ground with a round back, and then like around your knee, you try and set your back. Like, you're not gonna be able to do it. You got a bunch of weight in your hands, right? You're getting there. So, these things are all related, right? The kicking the head back is your attempt to get that tightness, that thoracic extension on the way down, instead of getting that set, locked, and tight before you even start and then just holding it. Because if you do that, nothing has to move. The elbows don't have to come down. You don't have to attempt to tighten up because you're going to feel the bar rolling up your back. If you have a soft upper back and you lean over, the bar's going to roll up your neck, which is why you want to throw your head back. It's almost like a subconscious reminder for you of like, oh, I need to get my chest up. But you need to get your chest up, and you need to do it before you even start the rep, and have all this leverage that comes with leaning over and having the bar roll up on your neck. If you get that whole thing locked in, set, and tight, and then just hinge over like that, nothing, you don't have to set anything, the bar's not going anywhere because you locked it in. All right? These look better. The overall, like, it looks better, but the head tick, that was actually a pretty good one. Yeah. But you see that? Like, that's a good example. So just watch. I'll slow it down. Just watch this segment right here as you like start the first half of the descent, because it shouldn't, the elbow shouldn't be moving, you shouldn't be arching, you shouldn't be flexing. So that was your attempt to set, but it needs to be more here. Okay, but watch. See that? Where's the one I wanted? Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of easier to see it when it's playing a little faster. Let's go back and watch a couple. That looks pretty good for you. The knees are moving in a little bit, but compared to before, so now you're having to kick your head back. Yeah, so don't think about, don't think about shrugging your traps up and down or your shoulders up and down. That's not what we're talking about. It's this. It's lifting this part up here. Okay? So you don't worry about this. Worry about this. Okay? You're trying to, and the what will result is that this will go this way, right? Your thoracic spine will go into extension as you try and lift the chest up to your chin, right? Puff it up, okay? And do that before you lean over. And you just got to hold it. So even better than that, and maybe more useful for you, is to do it before you even unrack the bar. So if you get under the rack and get tight, right? You get under it, you get it where you want it on your back, and then you, with no weight, because the hooks are holding the weight, you can get real arched up and tight. And then all you got to do is stand up, take 2 steps back, and start the rep. As long as the unracking process and the walkout process, you don't lose it. But that's how, so I was thinking about this because the other day when I was squatting, I was trying to think about, when do I do that? Am I setting my back at the, or setting my back, upper back in extension with every breath? And I realized that I don't do it. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why don't I do it? Because I'm telling everybody to do it and it's important. And what I realized is I do it before I take it out of the rack, and then I never let it go. So I set my back and get tight and then just lock my knees out, and then my upper back is just done. And every rep after that, unless I catch a bad rep and I lose it, but every rep after that, I don't have to think about my back, because it's just my natural position with weight on my back at this point in my training is up, locked, and tight. It's just, I don't even think about it. So I don't have to set it between each rep, but you have to learn how to do that. So what I would do, stay at this weight, or, I mean, the weight looks fine, but you got to fix this part of it, because that's everything. Everything else is stemming from this. So try and get set, arched, locked up and tight before you even take the weight out of the rack. Get everything set and then just stand up, okay? And try and hold it while you walk it out. Never let it go, and then just lean over, okay? And then between each rep, double check that you're in that same, it feels exactly the same as it felt when you did the walkout, when you unracked it and walked it out. If it doesn't, you might have to reset it, but it's not just this. It's this. It's this going this way, okay? Chest up, chin tucked, right? This doesn't do anything. This is how you do it, okay? So work on that and drill it and exaggerate the hell out of it, man. Like, make it feel like it's too much. Like, make it feel like you're just overdoing it, and see if you can keep it locked and tight walking it out. In fact, if you want to post a video of that, you could do this with 135 or, 60 kilos. Just show me. Just arch it up, tight, walk it out, and then do a rep. And we'll see where it breaks down. Because if you can set it and hold it, then you're good. Everything else will fall into place, okay? So good job, improvement. Let's keep working on it though, because once we fix this, you're gonna be an animal. So, all right, brother, take care, and let's if you want to post that, you don't have to wait to the next Friday. If you just want to post you doing that little drill with 60 kilos or something, just trying to get as arched and tight as you can, unracking it, walking it out, and then doing a rep, and then maybe do like a set of 5 or something, and we'll see if it falls apart, okay? And I'll take a look at that this week or something. All right, brother, take care. Let's move on. DrKudos, Neil, back in action. All right. My homework was to keep my chest puffed so that I can, oh man, yeah, I laid into you last time. Okay. So that I can drive my hips without dumping the bar over my head. I'm making progress, but there's room for improvement. You said I should do pause squats and focus on keeping my back rigid. Pause squat. Okay, good. I see some hip drive on my top set, but there's inconsistency in hip drive and depth across reps. Any other pointers? All right, so you had the problem where we kind of fixed your squat. I thought we got to a good place, and then we didn't see one for a while, and you went back to like dumping the bar up on your shoulders and just kind of like a noob's problem that we just talked about. So let's look at the pause squat and see if you can do this perfectly paused. And then we'll get into the heavy one. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, okay, you got it back. You're still high. There. Oh, okay. All right, so you just paused a little high there. A little deeper. Okay. You're pausing like an inch high. So, but sit back. Okay. I appreciate you you're on your toes, okay? So yeah, you notice, so every time you go down and pause, you're a little forward. Back, sit your ass back more. Just shift your weight back. You need a little bit more weight on your heels at the bottom of those, okay? The rest of it looks great, okay? So you're tight, your upper back, I mean, that's excessive, but good, beautiful. You just need to sit back on your heels a tiny bit. I don't know why we're looking back. You'll notice you kind of dip back. Yeah. So if I called you for being a little high. The reason you're high is because you haven't finished sitting back, and you don't have to change anything. It's just like the deadlift, how I want you to shift your weight like a little bit back to your heels before you pull, before you set your back. I want you mid-foot here, but you're forward. So I'm going to tell you, do the same thing. When you get down to this pause position, if I were there, I would just come and push your knee like this and just move you back. None of the angles change. That's nice. None of the angles change. It's just the weight. You're just gonna rock back a little bit. Like it's such a minor. It's like an inch of movement, but it makes all the difference. And you'll just drop right down to depth. Okay. Other than that, these look great. So good job on your homework, and let's look at this top set and see how beautiful it is now that you've done those. Okay, better with the back. You're just high as hell. But I can, like, you're doing a better job of holding right. Yeah. So I'm looking at your upper back right now, and because that's what we care about, but yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. But these are 6 inches high. I mean, like this is too heavy. So you got too much weight on the bar, and you're never going to do it right with too much weight on the bar. So, there's not a lot to correct here in terms of, like, it's not going to be that worthwhile because it's just too damn heavy. Like, you can't, like, you're just fighting. Like, you're trying to just survive this set. So me telling you, like, hey, you need to drive your hips up more, or like it's not going to do anything. It's just too heavy for you. And that's okay. But okay, so here's what we're going to do. I don't even care about this set because we need to find your weight that you can do something that looks like these pause squats. And what are these, like 95 pounds? Okay, so it's going to be heavier than 95 pounds. But I want to see something that looks like this at the heaviest weight you can do it without the pause. So you would just sit back more, and then that. This is the perfect. Look at you squatting beautifully, right? This is all of this. We need to build from this, because this, if you can hold this as you increase the weight, everything is doing its job. All the muscles that are supposed to be stabilizing, that are supposed to be flexing, extending, they all do their work, their fair share of the work, and they all get stronger together as you build from. So you have the model movement down, and you just build from there. Okay. But if you just keep putting weight on and then you allow this error and you know that the back rounds, the bar rolls, the knees cave in, I don't go all the way down, you're not sticking that perfect rep that you can do at a light weight isn't going to be perfect anymore. And things aren't the muscles and joints, they're not going to get stronger, right? Because if you don't go all the way down, well, that rep didn't do anything, or it didn't do what it wasn't as productive as it could have been. So we've got to find where you start losing this minus the pause. Okay, so you've got, what'd you tell me here? 265. Okay, so next time you're going to warm up with pause squats, because every time that you lift from now on and you squat, you warm up with pause squats. Just like empty bar, 95 pounds, sit back more, just remind yourself what the bottom feels like, okay? Every time for the rest of your life. I still do this. It just reminds me this is balance. This is a tight up. This is what it feels like to have my upper back tight, my knees out, my weight in the right place, okay? Then you're going to start working your way up. So you're going to go 135, 185, 205, 225, 245. Okay. You're probably going to lose it around 205 to 225. All sets of 5. Okay. And film them all and post up what you think is the best one. I don't expect you to get to 245. But if you look back at 225 and it looks good to you, like it looks like that pause squat pretty close, you can try 245, fine. But if it starts going to hell, just rack it, okay? And go back to 225. And then I want you to post what you think is the best video, your best heaviest set of 5, and I want you to post the one before that, the one notch lighter. Okay, so I can be like, yeah, you were right or wrong, but if you're wrong, I want to see the one before it. Okay, and just insist on perfect. I don't care if you get to 225. I would rather watch you squat 185 perfectly than watch you squat 265, 6 inches high with your back rounding and sliding all over the place, because you're just going to get hurt eventually. And it's not doing, we're not using the squat to get stronger. You're just like trying to move weight and hopefully your back doesn't snap or something. So we got to find where the limit of your ability to hold perfect form, relatively perfect form, is. Good enough form. Okay. So try that, ascending sets of 5, post your best one and the one before it, and we'll take a look, and then we'll go from there. All right, man. Nice work on the pause squats, and I look forward to the next one. All right, last guy, Drew. Here we go. Thanks again for your help these past few weeks working at maintaining my back extension in my squat. Last week you coached me to work on getting the knees out quicker and then keeping them shoved out through the bottom. Yes, they were caving in. Went to 260, seemed to me to go poorly. My body just does not want to do what my head cues are telling it to do. But I've been trying to undo this problem for a year or so. Old habits die hard. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at Drew. Let's see, man. Oh, right. Okay, I had someone else in my head. Sorry. All right, Drew. Not bad. This is good, man. You're just shifting back a little bit. See how watch your toe. Just see, it keeps rocking up like that. You're getting that lean better. God, your feet are so, like, there's so much And that one went kind of crappy. I know I had you like check your floor for, whether or not it was level, but like the amount of like wobbling that's happening on your feet when you're locked out, like the whole time, I don't know if those floors are like squishy or if there's a lot of give there, but it just looks like you're really unstable. And it's everything, like that's the point of weightlifting shoes, is that like you want to feel like you're just on solid concrete bolted down to the floor. So it's very hard to like, I mean, again, imagine squatting on a mattress. Like your brain has to think about like these little micro adjustments in pressure on your foot to maintain your balance while you're trying to lift like 400 pounds. If you can take that off the table, it helps a lot. So, anyway, I know I've harped on you. I'm trying to figure out what's going on there because it's unusual to see that amount of like shaking and rocking on the feet. Okay, sorry. Let's go back. So you're doing a better job like of getting that back angle set. Like you're definitely more leaned over than you were before. Okay, and that's like you're nailing depth. And then the drive up, it's good, like very good. Yeah, it's the same kind of deal where that one, okay. So wait a minute. So you can see your weight's back on your heels too much already. See, there was a little bit of I could see under your heel, like you did what I wanted you to do, which was to get more weight on your toes on the way down. Lean over, push your knees forward and out, stay off your heels. I mean, for you, I don't want everybody to stay off their heels. I want you balanced. But in your case, you had too much weight on your heels the whole time. And so this is good. And then it goes, and then your back looks great there. Like, look at how back is just, I mean, you can see the wrinkles here. Like you're arched, you're tight. And then as soon as you drive up, it's going to round. And I feel like, I mean, the reason usually is because the hips shoot back, the knees shoot back, the back angle, the weight comes back here. And in order to keep the bar over the middle of the foot, you got to lean over, and then it starts rolling, and then you throw your head back, right? So if you came straight up from here, these would be perfect. Good. So you're good there. That one, what happened on that one? See that scoop? That's the deal, man. This is what's happening on most of them when you start losing your back extension. But this is a good example of the error at an extreme level. So it's useful because we can see. So you're going down, right? You're going down. Your knee is stopped. Like you're good. There's your depth. Like everything looks good from here. And it's about to go to hell. And we got to figure out why. See, now everything is, look at the distance here. Like your butt is way back here. And you're starting to lose this. The bar's going this way. The head's going to come up. Your knee is like back behind. So, okay, that's what I want to look at. This is kind of a fun one. I mean, I'm not, I know you're like frustrated as hell, man. So, but it's fun to like, solve the puzzle. But you're never, with your weight back this much, right? I mean, your shins are almost vertical here. That bar has to stay midfoot, right? Or to maintain balance. And so the leverage, like if you had kept your chest up, it didn't round, and you kept your more weight towards the toes, then you would be you'd be more upright. But with the way that this is happening, when the knees cave in, the hips shoot back, and all your weight goes back to your heels, this back angle, which should probably be like this, ends up like it is now, right? And your butt's way back here, the bar's here, and it starts rolling up your neck, okay? And it's a weight distribution problem, right? If you had more weight here and the knee, instead of being here, the knee was closer to, you know, over the toes a little bit more, you wouldn't end up in this position, and it'd be easier to keep your back locked. And that's where we've talked it, but you can even see it when you look at your, like from here up, it's all like you're going this way. You're falling back that way. All right. Let's go. Okay, so we got to talk about, I want to see if we can find like the best one. Yeah, it's all because your butt's shooting back. Wait a minute. So like your head just starts moving. That one you didn't even hit depth. And your knee at the bottom is like back here. So let's go back to the beginning and find the one where the knees. I mean, that's so, and look at where your knee is here, right? Your knee is where we want it, like right over your toe. And notice your back angle, right? That like depth is perfect, up and tight. This is your, and your knee is here and your weight is more forward, and you just need to come straight up. This should not move back. You're pushing that way. And it's just this and this moves straight up, and the knee stays here. So I'm going to look at, so what did you say? My body does not want to do right. So you like most of these reps before you start to get tired are the bottom is so much better than before. So your body is listening. You're doing a good job. Okay, because you were not ending up in this position. So we've got the descent right. Now we just have to fix the ascent. And there's some cues that are going through my head here that I'm trying to figure out what's the best one for you. But yeah, I mean, look at that. So it's the ascent, the descent is great. You're killing it. Like you've got it. You nailed half of it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at this back angle. Look at this back angle. Like you're not even done yet. Well, you're not even all the way down. Boom. Beautiful. Up tight, knee right in front of the toe, like over the toe for you. It's perfect. All right. Here's what I want you to think about. This is my counterintuitive advice for you. I want you to forget about hip drive. I don't want you to do hip drive at all, okay? I don't want you to think about hip drive because you're gonna end up doing it anyway. But I want you to think about this, just maintaining this beautiful back. In fact, I'm gonna go back to like the early one because it was so good. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay. All right. This is like picture perfect Drew. Love it. This should be ingrained in your head. Okay. This is what I want. Now, on the way up, all I want you to think about is you're going to do the squat wrong. You're not going to use hip drive at all. No hip drive for you. You're not worried about driving this up at all. Okay. I want you to maintain this perfect angle all the way up. So I want you to think about, instead of driving this up, I want you to think about driving here. Okay. Drive your traps your shoulders, your posterior delts, your traps into this bar and just push it straight up. Okay? So that this and this do the exact opposite of what I'm always talking about. I want you to think about them moving up at exactly the same time. Leading here, not here. Okay? Knee stays right here. This is going to be a lot of quad. I want you focused on just, you're here. I just want you thinking here, straight up like that. Okay? You're pushing your shoulders. I'm always talking about, I'm going to grab you right here and yank up. I'm going to stand on a ladder. I'm going to grab the bar and I'm going to yank up the bar. Okay? That's your assignment. You will probably still do hip drive, which is like, that's probably embedded in you, but I want you, we've got to overcorrect. Okay. So all of this pushing back, this is where the problem's happening. Hips go back angle becomes too horizontal, weights on the heels, bar rolls up on the neck, the head goes back, you stop driving your hips. If you can maintain this and just stand up, like maybe just think stand up and drive your shoulders straight into the bar and the bar into the ceiling, directly above you, okay? That's all I want you to think about. And you're pushing from here, oops, where's my thing? Here and like here, okay? This section of your foot, just straight up, quad it up, no hip drive. That's it, okay? So let's give your head that cue to think about. And let's see what that looks like. So maybe try this weight or what? Yeah, I don't need to look at these other ones because I remember. But this was 260. So maybe try 260 again, but maybe do 260 and do a lighter back off, like 260 and then like 90%, 85% just after. So I could see both. And just perfectly even, zero hip drive. That's what I want. Leading with just push your traps into that bar straight up. Okay, just stand up. Just think, stand up, drive my shoulders into the bar. And let's take a look at what that looks like. Because if you can figure out how to get out of the bottom the right way, like you fixed the descent, which was a mess. And it's perfect now on most of these. So you're ending up in the right place, which is hard. A lot of guys, like, because if you don't end up in that position at the bottom, it's really hard to do it right on the way up, right? You're nailing the bottom. So don't, like, I know it's frustrating, but like, you should be proud of that because you have got the perfect bottom position now. Great. Now we just got to get you back to the top. And we will, man. All right. That's your homework. So I want to see that next week or, whenever. Yeah, next week would be good. Okay, guys, we did it. This was a fun one. A lot of success, a lot of good, like, corrections, not a lot of reprogramming. So love it. This stuff seems to be, you guys are killing it, and you're taking the advice, and it's a pleasure to watch and be a part of. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to edit this and put it up on YouTube, and I will see you on Reddit, and I will see you for another Form Check Friday next week. Take care.